Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. If you didn't know, now you know. And today we're doing a monomer showdown. We've got two Saviland monomers. We have an Expert 100% pure ENail acrylic liquid monomer, and we have a Pro Acryl X 100% ENail acrylic liquid monomer. What's the difference? I don't know, but we're gonna see if there is one. We are going to be doing this on a fake hand though, and some nail tips, because it would be irresponsible to do this experiment on my actual hand. So let me show you the monomers. So this is the Expert one. We've got this 8-ounce bottle. I will link all of this in the description. It's actually all from Amazon. And so this one I have had longer. It does have some instructions and stuff on the back, but acrylic is a learning curve. Instructions aren't necessarily going to solve your problem. This one says rich in castor oil and vitamin E. And then we've got this big old box that I haven't opened yet. We're about to. This one says Ultra Sculpture. Also rich in castor oil and vitamin E with Pro Acryl X technology. This one's a 16-ounce bottle. It's a fatty. Also has information on the back. Let's open it. I can smell it already. And it is in fact wrapped inside of here as well. There's a little booklet. We need to get this opened. So here is our two bottles for comparison. We are going to be using this Saviland Pro Acryl X acrylic powder for both for consistency. This one is in the shade Nude. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we can look at these and see if we can find the differences on the package. So let's turn these things around and have a look at the ingredients. One of them is significantly easier to read. Ingredients: ethyl methacrylate, castor oil, vitamin E, which then it says alpha tocopherol. Is that what vitamin E is? They seem to have the same ingredients, so what's the difference? And there's only 3 ingredients? Does that mean that normal monomer is only ethyl methacrylate and nothing else? I have this ENail Couture monomer here. Let's see if it says. This one says it has ethylene acrylate monomer, isopropyl alcohol, ethylene glycol, dimethacrylate, N-dimethyl P, toluidine P hydroxyl, blah, blah, blah. This one has a lot more things in there. So is this like bare bones but vitamins? And I'm wondering if the ratios are different in here because they're not labeled the same. Is this like old packaging and new packaging? Or are they just from different lines? Because I do have things that will have like the different lines on them. We've got our Expert, we've got our Pro Acryl, Pro Sculpt, Pro this, that, or the other. Is there a difference between Expert and Pro? Let me know if you know. I've got 2 Dap and Dish. I'm gonna put some in each, one from here, one from here. Let's open these containers and see what kind of tops they have. So for this one, never even opened it, amazing. We're gonna put a hole here and a hole here for airflow. I like them when they have the little cap that prevents it from spilling, but this is fine. So let's put some of that in this one. And we'll remember on this side is the Expert. I'm going to set this bottle behind it. And on this side, we're going to do the Pro Acryl X. Same foil. We'll open it the same way. And then we'll set this onto the right side. Got a little bit there on my mat. All right, let's have a little look-see. So they look the same, right? Same clarity. Same purple hue. Settle down, please. But I don't know, maybe I am tripping. Does this one seem a little bit pinker than this one? Or is it just because of where they're sitting? Let's switch them. No, this one I believe has a pinker hue. So I'm wondering if they are different ratios of ingredients. Let me scoot those back again though. I'm gonna put this paper towel down because we're gonna make a mess. I have this Saviland size 12 brush that we're gonna use. And this is gonna be our guest today. I'm gonna put some nail tips on here. I just got these half cover ones. Okay, so I've got my tip on, I've got my powder open. Here's our brush. We're gonna have to get it wet and ready. And in order to do that, we're gonna stick it in here. I'm gonna do a little bit of smush and twist so that we can break up the air bubbles and let them escape. Now, I have used a Saviland monomer before, but it was a different one. I think it was back in their original formula before they started adding the vitamins, and the container was more jug shaped. And I remember that particular monomer was bubbly. So like whenever I would use a clear acrylic, you could see the bubbles. I don't know if these monomers are gonna be that way, but we're not using a clear acrylic. So hopefully we won't be seeing any bubbles. If we see some through this opaque acrylic, I will be a little disappointed. I'm gonna scoot this though over here out of our way so we're not gonna knock it over. And then we're gonna do us a little practice bead. I'm gonna give us another piece of paper towel because we wanna be able to move this one out of our way. Let's get us some of this, wipe the back of the brush off, give it a 1, 2, a 3. We've got this bead here. It's not super huge, which is good because I am not good. Polymerizes well though. Let's put that on here. Smooth that down. I mean, it does look pretty good. Okay, let's try that with the other monomer. That was the Pro Acryl. So now we're gonna go for the Expert. We got it wet, wipe off the back of the brush, give it a 1, a 2, a 3. You got a little bit more on this one. Consistency. But it is polymerizing. It is taking a little bit longer though because there was more, but you can see it's going. See, there it is. It is melting on. You want to wait for it to get like that before you place it. So let's put that and smooth it down a little bit. So that one also looks good. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that one smelled a little bit differently. More noticeable perhaps. So that's what we got for those two. Let me set that to the side though. All right, so we're gonna start with the Pro Acryl X one. We've got our little brush here. We're gonna start on this finger. Now I am in no way, shape, or form an acrylic expert or even acrylic artist. I am a very beginner at acrylic, but that would be the perfect person to try this out, right? Is it beginner friendly? We'll find out. All right, so we got us a bead started, and we're gonna start by putting this in the middle on this here seam. And then you gotta wipe off your brush because you don't want to be clogging it up. And then you can pat this. Now, my understanding is you kind of want it to do the work itself, let it go down, but guide it. Now this one is not running, but I was able to pat it a little bit. So I would say we're not off to a bad start. That does seem pretty smooth. That means we're gonna have to add some more though. So let's do that. Let me grab a little more. I think it might be a little bit bigger this time, not much. Polymerized pretty well. Let's put that here. Wipe off our brush, dip it, and wipe it again. Okay, get back up on there. And push this back a little bit. I want to kind of blend these down together if possible. I don't know how people bend their hands to where it's like it's coming at it from the right angle on all of the sides, because I'm like, I am not able to do that without pointing the finger up. So like when you're down here, how are you even getting over to this other side? We're definitely gonna have to do layers. Get that excess off of there. Put that on our paper towel. We can always dip our brush again to re-wet it so it slides. We've got some filing opportunities, but I wouldn't worry that much because filing is really the most important part. Now, this isn't about application. This is about the monomer, but I can see that this side is thicker than this side. Not by much, but it is. So when we do our next layer, we definitely want to focus more of it over there, but we got to work our way up too. So I'm going to dip. We're going to get some more. Let's let that polymerize. And then we'll put that here. Wipe. Let's push it back upwards. That one was a little bit wetter, but I think that's okay because it's more blendy, it seems like. Maybe my first one was too dry. You can tell that there is a bit of a dip here, but of course there is. That's no surprise. And this whole side over here is like barren, but so is this one. It's like bloop and bloop. We'll have to build it up. All right, let's try and work our way up some more. Got a bit of a bigger, wider one. If you do acrylic, by all means, leave me your tips in the comments on how to be better as a beginner. Let me push this back a little bit towards what they consider the cuticle. There we go. And how you get it this side without having to like crank your arm around. All right, it's not bad up there. No. Now this bottom half, we still need to add more. So let's get some, yeah. I'm gonna try and use this to make this even out a little bit. So let's put that on there. Let's push it and push it. And we wanna try and pull some of it back up, I think. Try and blend that. I don't know how you guys get that to make it break loose. They never want to come off for me. They just roll up and down. All right. That side is still thicker. This side has a little bit on it, but let's try and add a little more. Our seam is not seamless. We all know what we're doing. Okay, I think that's helping. Okay, yeah, so the thickness is looking pretty good across the end. If anything, this side's now a little bit thinner. And back here is definitely because you can see the color difference. Yeah, so you see it's more sheer. Let's try and add some more. All right, we're gonna try and even the opacity up on this side with just a thin little layer. And then we'll pull this part backwards a little bit to try and fix with that seam. Yeah, not bad. Then put a little bit more. We got this big one back here to finish this off. Get back up there. Well, we've kind of used up all the monomer that was in that little dappen dish. That's probably way too much monomer to have to use for one nail. But like, my brush is quite full, and so is my paper towel. But I wouldn't say we've done a bad job. If anything, it's all right of a job. Pretty decent around the sides. The straightness looks okay. Yeah. I can't quite turn it for you so that you can see the apex, but it's not without. We'll have to take it off afterwards and have a look at it. But I would say that that is an okay job. So that's the Pro Acryl X. Let's fold that one behind here so it can dry. And we'll work on this one. Let's pull that dappen dish up here so that we can have a fresh scoop of monomer. Okay, so we've got some to start. This one, it is still polymerizing slower, not incredibly slow, but slower. And so I wonder if that is to do with the formulation, because as we read, the ingredients are the same, but that doesn't mean that they're in the same amounts. or even that they are built in with the same method. Like, I don't know how monomer is made. You tell me. Do you know how monomer is made? Maybe. That's a good first layer, actually. I feel like not half bad. Let's get some more. My brush is getting fat from being full of the monomers, which is fine. I don't mind, but it makes it pick up more than it was when we did our test ones. See, like, how do you get that to just be pushed down without it being awkward from the angle you're coming at it? See, and now it's wiping too much. Okay, that one's skinny. All right, let's place this up here. Let it run. Keep it in. That one was way too wet. Wasn't near enough powder for the amount of monomer. All right, let's try that again. All right, yeah, that's quite a bit more. The thickness across the end is a bit hard to judge. I mean, it seems really thin. I can kind of see through the edges, so it must be. Yeah. So let's try and build a little bit more of this up. Yeah, I dunked that too much. It's okay. Oop, we're getting dripsies. See, I don't know how y'all keep up with that. It moves too quick whenever it's got a lot of liquid. If you don't keep your brush wet enough, the monomer just makes the acrylic stick straight to your brush, which makes it really impossible to work with. So, like, keep your brush wetter than you think you need it to, or struggle. It's not bad. Now, this top part does actually need a little bit of attention, though. All right, let's try and use this. My little dapping dish is not heavy enough. It just blows away. Okay, so here's our expert nail. It's definitely gonna need some filing. It's on there. I would say it still needs more apex, and right here is still too thin. Let's try and get a little bit more, but I'm like running out of monomer in my little dish. My brush is starting to separate. That means there's acrylic inside of there. Makes it hard to work with. You stay up on top now. Okay, that's all right, I think. Yeah, you can see where it's trying to separate. We're definitely gonna have to clean this well. My bowl is empty. I'm gonna close this. And then I have this Pro Acryl X brush cleaner. So we're gonna actually use this to clean the brush. It works really well and it leaves it feeling nice and soft. So I'm gonna put some of that into my dapping dish. Let's fold this nail out of our way as well so it can dry. We're gonna clean up this little mat. My silicone, like work mat, blisters under the monomer. I don't know why. Let me do like this. You can see right here, but it will smooth back out. Zoom back in. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna stick it down in here and start doing this. Like, you can see how it's already getting cloudy. It's because this brush is full of acrylic. And you can let it soak in here actually as well. And then I like to pull it kind of like this with a bit of a twist. That way I can get all the sides to push it together to a bit of a point. There we go. So that is how I'm gonna leave that shaped, and I'm gonna set it to the side so it can dry. And then we have this little bit of liquid yet. The instructions don't say how you're supposed to dispose of it, so I just pour it into the paper towel and absorb it so that I can throw it away. We'll have a quick look at our initial swipes of this. That's how they look. Remember, it is the same powder, Saviland monomer for both. They claim to have the same ingredients, but are they the same? I'm not sure. All right, we get a fresh paper towel. Cover up that gooey area. All right, let's bring back our fingers so we can have a look at them. Okay, so this one's the Pro Acryl X, and this one is the Expert. Can you at this time see any differences? And if so, what are they? I wish it was a little bit easier to turn these things. Point them down if you can see the curvature maybe. Maybe. This one's not entirely dry yet. We're going to have to give it a minute. I'll be back. Okay. I did a little light filing, but it's really hard to file on these hands, not like when they're attached to your own hands. So I crispened up the shape a little bit and smoothed it off, but let's take them out of here and have a look. I wasn't able to do the back of this one at all. Excuse me, ma'am. All right, so this is the Pro Acrylic X. So it looks like I got some debris up underneath here. I've got a thick spot under here that could be cleaned up with a file, an e-file. That's not too bad. So let's look at our shape here. I would say it's not horrible. It does have an apex and it does look to be pretty straight throughout here. And then from this direction is not horrible either. So I would say, as a beginner who is not good at this, that's a pretty fair job. Now, our expert nail. This one also had some debris underneath that could be cleaned up. This one does also have an apex. The apex might even be a little bit better on this one. And then from here to here is not bad. I would say it could use a little bit straighter filing, but it was hard for it to not just fall out. Now across the end also I think is pretty decent. It's a little bit fat through here, but again, it was hard to file this thing because it kept trying to fall out. So I'd say that's also not a bad job. It also has that hard sound. They sound the same. Okay, so let me know. Which one would you say is better? Would you say one of them worked better than the other? Would you say one of them I just did a better job on than the other? Were you able to notice any differences between the two? For me, I felt like there may have been a slight hue difference in the pinkiness, and there may be a slight difference in the smell, but I couldn't describe it to you because it all smells like monomer. Overall, I would say it's definitely beginner friendly. It is definitely usable. I would say it is significantly better than the original line from Saviland. The original one was really hard to work with, but these Pro Acrylic X powders are pretty decent. And I think both of these monomers are actually quite acceptable. So if you're starting out and you want to practice your acrylic, this is a really affordable way to do it. Again, links will be in the description. Get you one of these hands. In fact, I believe Saviland even has a hand. I don't think I got mine from Saviland, but I know that I believe they might. And if they don't, I know ENail Couture does, and I have a discount code for that. So go check it out. Save your money for when you get real good. You can buy the expensive stuff if you want to. But that's it for the testing, the showdown. Who was the winner? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you are subscribed so you're not missing my videos. Make sure you hit that like button. The algorithm thanks you, and so do I. Check out the members only perks. See if any of those are something you would be interested. If you want to join, I would appreciate you. Absolutely, come on over. Be glad to have you. Make sure you're following my socials. Sometimes I post things over there that don't get posted over here. And make sure you're checking out the links to the brands I have in the description. Use those discount codes, save yourself some money, and join my Amazon Facebook group where I post discounts from Amazon with or without codes. But that's a great way to get some good deals, and some of it's nail related. And again, all of this will be included in the description as well if you want to go ahead and grab that too. Highly, highly, highly recommend that brush cleaner. If you already have an acrylic system but you don't have a brush cleaner, get that, because it really does make all the difference. It leaves your brush super supple and soft. It doesn't get like hard and crunchy when it dries. It does take a little bit of time to dry. Like this is still very wet, but that's totally fine. It's not full of acrylic, and that's the important part. I'll see you in the next video though. Goodbye.